I can't either. I was looking. Oh, it's gonna be something.
All right, everybody need to get their seat. Everybody needs to turn their cell phones off. Please mute your cell phones. Has everybody got their tablet logged in before we start? Can you tell, is everybody logged in? Okay.
Can we log him in? Can we turn his? Is his on? Turn it on.
Would somebody grab the public speaking list down there? Bring it to me, pretty please. I have texted our building maintenance supervisor to tell him to turn the air conditioner on, so I hope it kicks in pretty quick. Thank you, Sheriff Harton. Is everybody logged in yet? There you go. Okay, everybody's present. Mr. Sheriff, would you please call the meeting to order?
Come to order. This commission's now open for business.
We have his brother Dustin Welch here. Would you please step to the podium and lead this body in a prayer?
Let's pray. Our Almighty and Holy Father in heaven, God, we humbly approach your throne of grace, mindful of our own deficiencies, mindful, Father, of our own weaknesses, and mindful of the mighty tasks that lie before us. Father, we recognize you as the author and creator of all life. And Father, we pray that we live lives that glorify you, made in and living full into your image. We pray, Father, that you will be with our brothers and sisters in Christ the world over who are suffering. Father, those who are suffering persecution because of their faith, because of their nationality, because of their living conditions, Father, we just want to lift them up to you. And Father, we pray that we might look similarly upon the people in our own city, in our own neighborhoods, in our own county, those who are struggling. And Father, we might show them that same compassion. Father, we know that we can't do everything we would like to do, but we pray that you'll equip us for everything you want us to do. Father, I pray that you will look on this commission as it meets tonight, and as they seek to make wise decisions about the future of our community, we pray that you will grant them discernment, that you will guide them in paths that are wise, that, Father, that we'll be able to be a sort of community that shines brightly, reflecting not, Father, our own goodness, but your goodness. Forgive us, Father, when we lead ourselves astray. Forgive us, Father, when we turn to our own way and think and call that wisdom. And we pray this in your Son, Jesus' name. Amen.
Thank you, Brother Welch. Commissioner Tim Brown, would you please lead the body in the Pledge of Allegiance to the U.S. flag?
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic
Okay, guys, I hope you've reviewed the agenda. The floor will be open for motion to approve the agenda. Motion to approve by Commissioner Hirschman, seconded by Commissioner Duncan. Any discussion, changes, amendments to tonight's agenda? Being none, we're ready to vote on tonight's agenda. Seventeen yes votes. Tonight's agenda has been approved. Thank you. Now we will open the floor for public comments. The rules for public comments are you must be a Coffee County resident, and we're going to try to hold you to 3 minutes. I'll probably just tap the microphone or gently say that your time is nearing. Some of these names I cannot read, to be honest with you. Zach, did you sign up? Yes. I think, were you the first on the list? No. Help me out. I'll go with Peggy Delaney. Peggy, you want to speak? Oh, Garth, you got to work on your handwriting. All right, Garth, you want to come to the lectern, please? I apologize. There's more than that one that I can't make out. So,
my handwriting is atrocious. Garth Seagroves. I live in Tullahoma, Tennessee, 219 South College Street. Practice law in Tullahoma, and I'm here on behalf of opposition to tonight's resolution for the 5-acre minimum lot. I have spoken to a number of you over the last weeks. I've sent letters, and I have a suspicion that everyone's mind's made up for the most part coming in to tonight. I would like to address that the moratorium was put in place for there to be discussions, attempted meeting of the minds of what could possibly help form an opinion of what could go into a resolution that would satisfy everybody. This is not it. Moratorium still has time. If everyone here is looking at going forward with this 5-acre minimum residential building for a home, I would recommend that we give it more time. That's what the moratorium is put in place for. We need to have a committee with certain people in the community, with people from this commission, from the planning commission, and from gentlemen who have spoken at these meetings to at least address everyone's issues one-on-one or in a group. That has not happened. And that would be my recommendation today to this commission. I know this is a hard job for all of you. There's been pressure, phone calls coming in, all hours of the weekend during work, and it's tough. And these are decisions that need to be made because they affect this community, not just for the short term, but for the long term. Thank you.
Thank you, Garth. Okay, the next I'm going to go to Sue Sipe. Do you want to speak? Mr. Umbarger? To who? Okay. Sure, come ahead.
Hello. Usually I don't speak. I'll let someone else speak for me.
State your name one more time, please.
Sharon Lynch, Coffee County resident. I personally want to just speak. I didn't like the sign that was out front because I think that that's a scare tactic to each and one of y'all and disrespectful to y'all for one. So my apologies for that. Anyway, I am speaking here because I was that young person, that first-time buyer, that the developer, the realtor, they didn't care about what happens later on in life. They're just there to make their money and move on. I was that house that a year later, the plumbing was probably, it was just thrown together. I was one of those makeshift houses. My first-time buyer's experience was not good. We, Coffee County, can do better. We're just asking for that time frame for 180 days, and we're asking for the 5 acres. My parents inherited, I inherited 5 acres. Eventually, yes, I do want one or two of my kids to move down here and make. I have no problem going before, like they have said in meetings, I've been to a lot of meetings. They have no problem going to one of them and asking for that permission. Guess what? I had a front porch put on my front house. We had to go through zoning to do that. I didn't, but the guy who made it did. I have no problem doing that. There's rules and regulations for everybody. In my emergency, guess what? It's for a hospice patient. That's what really matters. It's not how much money you make down here, because guess what? Leave it to your kids. I would much rather have my mom and dad. Much rather. So all the fighting and bickering and the lies that are sort of spread on Facebook, it's got to stop. It's got to stop. These farmers, it's a beautiful day outside. They've got plenty of, I see them working all around me. And guess what? If I know they're on the road, I go around it. You put a bunch of city folks in here, they're gonna make it harder on them. I don't farm, but I do have a garden. I was raised up in Nashville. I've seen Nashville get overgrown. I've seen Murfreesboro get overgrown. I've lived there. I lived in another place, and when they put apartments down the road from me, guess what? My house has been the oldest one on the block, never flooded, never had water in the basement. As soon as they put those apartments down there, my basement was flooded. So it does affect. If smart planning has got to start with y'all, not with scare tactics, but just with organization, smart planning, not benefits, not making money, not being, I'm pretty sure, the surveyor, I'm pretty sure he's awesome at what he does. He can put as much stuff on that land as you can. I can draw a picture and put a bunch of stuff on the paper, but I'm pretty sure. But you have to look at it long term and what it does to the people that live there, like me.
Wrap it up, please. Wrap it up, please.
Okay. I just want, I never planned to move back to Middle Tennessee, never planned it. You don't know what tomorrow holds, but y'all are sitting in a seat that y'all can have a decision made. Now, I do apologize, but I do gotta go and take care of a loved one. Another one that's gone.
Thank you. We will go down to, I figure I know who's going to be speaking for and against this, and I'm going to try to rotate. So, Nicholas Northcott.
Good evening, everyone. Nicholas Northcott, Northcott Surveying. Thank you for allowing me the chance to speak this evening. I've got, 3 or 4 people that have offered to give me their time should I run over. You're being asked this evening to vote on an amendment to the zoning resolution regarding increasing the minimum lot size in the A1 zone to 5 acres in an effort to curb major subdivisions. There are several reasons in your package that on the surface sound like good reasons to vote in favor of these amendments. This, however, is being presented as a solution to problems that we do not have. This solution does not preserve farmland, but rather uses 5 times more property than necessary to have a house. It caters to the established and wealthy while leaving lower and middle income earners in the cold by pricing them out. And worst of all, it adds uncertainty and unnecessary government overreach into your rights to manage your own property. This amendment is intended to pattern us after Williamson County. This could not be more of an apples and oranges situation. I would like to point out that the median family income in Williamson County is more than double that of Coffee County. Their population is almost 5 times the population, and they have double the median income. The job of the full commission is to represent all of the people in your respective districts. We should be focusing on what's good for Coffee County residents and not what other counties vastly different from ours are doing. This amendment offers a pathway to dividing less than 5 acres through the variance option. Again, this sounds good on the surface, but what the Planning Commission has submitted to you is asking to have the power to be judge and jury to determine whether or not an individual can divide less than 5 acres. As you know, there's no approval needed to divide 5 acres or larger, so what that means is that for anyone wanting to divide less than 5 acres for any reason, they have to ask for permission. I take major issue with this because the chairman of the Planning Commission does not know what's best for me, and he does not know what's best for my family, just like he doesn't know what's best for you and your family. This leaves your ability to divide uncertain and open-ended. It places one's ability to divide squarely on the whim of the chairman of the Planning Commission. That's an awful lot of power to give one man or one small appointed body. I have attempted to ask what the criteria of being granted a variance would be, and no one can tell me. That's because there is not any clear criteria of where a variance
Hold up a
would be
minute,
granted.
Nick. Who wants to extend his time? I need to mark off names. One hand to be enough. Josh, thank you, Josh. Go ahead, Nick.
There again, I asked about the criteria of what would be granted a variance, and nobody could tell me because there is not one. That means it's all up to the opinion of the Planning Commission. Reasons such as deeding land to a child to build on or selling to pay medical bills, those are great reasons to apply for a variance. But what if I want to sell an acre of my property so I can go buy a Camaro? Is that going to be a good enough reason to get a variance? What this is doing is it's taking a level playing field where everybody knows the rules, and it's changing it to a game of who knows who. If you want to divide, you will have to kiss the ring. It is no secret that I'm going against the grain of the Planning Commission on these amendments. So if I personally wanted to request a variance after all this, do you think that my odds would be better or worse about getting that variance? And do you think that that's fair for me? The purpose of the Planning Commission is to make sure people follow the ordinances that y'all have enacted, regardless as to whether or not it's popular. Allowing the Planning Commission the ability to interject their opinion based on personal biases or possibly even input from the neighbors is not the way we should be doing business. That's because neither the Planning Commission nor the neighbors paid for my property, they don't pay taxes on my property, and they don't maintain my property. Therefore, they should not get a say as to what the best way for me to use my property should be. Where am I at time-wise?
Oh, you still got a minute and a half.
Well,
You don't need anybody yet. Keep talking.
before you cut me off, one of them's going to do it. So let's put Mitch down next. Mitch Umbarger.
You're not to 2 minutes yet. You got 3.
The other pathway proposed is the rezoning route, which would come before this body. This sounds good on the surface, but again, hanging one's ability to divide on the opinion of even the full commission is uncertain. If you will recall, 2 commission meetings ago, a gentleman had applied for rezoning on his property where corridor zoning split zoned his property. He was simply trying to get his whole property zoned the same zone. Even in this simple scenario, there were 4 neighbors that came out against this. And their reasons were literally that they moved out into the country and they want to look at cows. that was the reason that they gave. This is the kind of mentality that you're going to encounter with every rezoning. I've done enough of these to know that no one wants anything any different. It's been said that some other counties do this, but again, let's focus on what's good for Coffee County and not what other counties are doing.
Okay, I'm gonna check off Joe Orr's time,
Thank you.
if you wanna continue.
In closing, this commission, y'all have painstakingly reviewed and approved an extensive set of zoning ordinances. Mayor Hunt reiterated this the other day by stating that there's an entire book 2 inches thick dedicated to telling you what you can and can't do with your property. As I stated the last time I spoke before this commission, and to give you some perspective, the common refrain from the average person that I work for is that they had no idea how difficult it was to do a simple division. The common refrain I hear from developers is that it's harder to develop in Coffee County than any other county that they work in. The point that I'm trying to make is that the ordinances already in place are having the desired effects. The responsible growth is happening. Prior to the submission of the controversial Old Airport Road subdivision that, let's be honest, has brought all this about, the last major subdivision in the county where roads and additional infrastructure were installed was in 2007, 18 years ago. This shows me that these amendments are an overreaction to problems that we don't have. It's been said that I'm just representing developers, but this is not true. I'm the only one in this room that helps people on a daily basis, helping people make decisions about their land. And the majority of my clients are just average people. I am the one here representing these people. These folks sitting over here on this side, whether they know it or not, I'm representing them as well. And as I see it, these amendments would have more of a negative impact on these people. There's a sign out front of the building out here that says, "Vote conservative, less government, less regulations, lower taxes. We are watching how you vote." I would implore you to vote with your constituency, vote no to these amendments, end this moratorium, and keep landowners in the driver's seat of their own property. Thank you for your time and consideration on these matters this evening.
Thank you, Nick. Let's see, try to flip to the other side here. Sean Jones, do you want to speak?
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Sean Jones. I'm a multi-generational farmer in the Asbury community. I'd like to start by saying there's a lot of confusion and misconception about what we're trying to accomplish and achieve. We're not trying to shut down growth in the county. We're asking for a set of rules to put in place to protect the rural areas, A1 zoning. The definition of A1 is as follows. This district is intended to preserve space for agriculture and forestry use, which together comprise an important segment of the economy for Coffee County. The primary intent of the A1 district is to minimize conflicts between agriculture and forestry activities and various non-farm activities, to permit lands best suited for intense agriculture uses to be preserved for these suited purposes, and to prevent lands unsuitable for development of an urban or non-rural nature due to topographic problems, location, or the inability to provide necessary urban services from being encroached upon by these incapable land uses. Areas assigned to A1 district are primary areas where growth of an urban or non-rural nature is deemed undesirable for one or more of the reasons outlined below. Although the A1 district is primarily a rural district, it is also provides for low-density residential development with lot sizes for single-family dwellings being more restrictive than those for C1 rural centered district. The following regulations shall apply in the A1 Agriculture Forestry District as defined on the zoning map of Coffee County, Tennessee. Agriculture areas within this district may involve noise, odors, dust, and night operation of equipment, all associated with the normal crop and livestock production activities. All residential users and developers of residential properties shall be charged with the knowledge that they assume the risk of any discomfort associated with the deciding to reside in this district arising out of said agriculture activities. Right now, the lot sizes in A1 are no different than any other zoning district. Shouldn't something be done to protect the rural heritage and environment that we currently have? In 2022, the top export from Tennessee was cotton at the value of $956.6 million, which also put Tennessee as the #3 exporter of cotton in the U.S. That's more than distilled spirits, Jack Daniels, George Dickel, etc., which was the second leading export at $817.7 million and #1 in the U.S. Which to produce these, you need grain, corn, barley, etc. The top 5 exports of Tennessee are nothing without the A1. It doesn't matter if it's cotton at #1 or poultry products at #5. They are all centered around A1. Something must be done to help save farmland before it's too late. To put things into perspective, I have the following numbers.
Sean,
Yes, sir.
Sue? Thank you. Continue, Sean.
Tennessee loses 10 acres an hour. That's 435,600 square feet an hour. 7,260 square feet a minute, 121 square feet a second. To put that into perspective, your average bedroom in your house is 132 square feet. 1 second, it's gone. Your average home, this conference room, 2,200 square foot roughly, 18 seconds, gone. Football field, 57,600 square feet, 7.9 minutes, gone. The Grand Ole Opry House is 101,000 square foot, 14 minutes, it's gone. To put things in a local perspective, Bonnaroo is roughly 700 acres. 70 hours it's gone, or 2 days and 22 hours. Less time than the festival is here, that land is gone. It was brought to my attention today that a comment was made about putting as many houses on a few acres as you can will help preserve farmland. Unless there's an unwritten rule in effect stating that once we reach a certain number of houses in the county, we're going to stop building. I don't see how this will solve anything except overcrowd certain areas. Then a remark was made about putting chicken houses on the land instead of houses. Personally, I'll take chicken houses any day, and it would be an easier process since the land is zoned A1 for agriculture use anyway. There are currently regulations in place to prevent certain activities in the city, chicken houses, feedlots, etc. This protects the residents in the city from the noise, smells, etc. What's wrong with having rules and regulations in place to protect the citizens living in the rural areas from the hassles caused from the city coming to the country? Personally, I think all developing needs to stay in the PGA and the UGB where the infrastructure is already in place to handle growth. One important thing concerning Planning Commission is that when making decisions, monetary gain or loss cannot be considered Planning Commission's responsibility to determine the best use for it at that time. That being said, thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your time. I appreciate what you do for our county. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean. Let's see. Nick Graham, you want to speak? No. B.B. Brown, did you sign up? Anybody opposing this? It's your turn. Anybody opposes the 5-acre minimum resolution? Anybody else? No, I'm kidding. Come on, Charles. Charles Miller.
Thank you. 616 Polk Street, Manchester. B.B. Brown says I'm old as dirt. And that's why I'm in the business of selling dirt. You know, we said a prayer today, tonight. We pledged the flag. And when you all were elected, you swore an oath to serve the people in your district. And you come to a quandary you've come to. I hope you don't have many of these where you have two opposing forces when you make a decision. I tried to look back, and I recently went to England, and as we were touring, we would come to these great castles, and they would have thousands of acres of land around them. And then surrounding the castle were these little buildings, and that's where the tenants used to live and that worked the farms. And, you know, next year we are going to celebrate 350-year anniversary of the independence of the United States of America. And I thought, you know, why are we a nation? Why are we here 350 years? Well, it dawned on me that one of the reasons we are here is because those tenant people who could never own an acre of land in England got on a boat and came to America. And they fought. They fought for this flag, and they fought, and then they came up with a constitution. You know, one of the basics of that constitution was the right to own land and the right to do with that land what you wanted to do with it. That's the basis that America, that's why we're here. And I know you're being asked to make a decision tonight that's going to affect every district in the county, not only the ones that you were elected to serve, but every district that we have. And when you make that decision, there are some salt of the earth. The farm people, the people that are up here tonight, they are great people, and I come from them. But they're asking you to restrict the rights that everybody has fought for, that we pledged allegiance to, that America was built upon. And all I ask of you all is, I know Tim Brown fought. He fought, and many of you all fought for our nation. You served. And you were fighting for this right, the right to own your land and do with it as you want to. I think if we could
Charles,
put it off. Thank you, sir.
are you done?
No, I'm not.
Okay, somebody who's next?
I might as well be, though.
All right, Melody.
Well,
You got 3 more now.
All right, but thank you. I would say that if we could delay this vote, if we could get in committee, if we could, as reasonable people, come to a conclusion that would benefit both these people and both the people that have the rights to do with their land what they want to do. That would be a good compromise, and that's all I ask. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Charles. Support of the 5-acre. Who wants to speak next? I'm trying to see who's doing it. Anybody on this side want to speak in support of the 5 acres? Steve Cunningham, do you want to speak?
Yes. Thank you, Mayor. Y'all bear with me. No disrespect from wearing a cap up here. I have an eye problem and the glare bothers me a lot. There's much confusion among the general public about what's going on with land use in Coffee County. Rumors, misconceptions, and false narratives have been peddled by word of mouth in the newspapers and on social media. The changes we're exploring are not going to take away citizens' rights, they're not going to lower your land values, and they're not going to stop growth in Coffee County. Coffee County has had zoning since 2001. Changes to the zoning resolution are common and necessary. Zoning and land use are not intended to take away anyone's rights. It is a balancing of rights. You need to remember that. It's a balancing of rights. Growth cannot be stopped or slowed by land use decisions.
Growth can only be affected by the migration of people and the condition of the local, national, and world economy. And if you don't believe me, if you're old enough, remember the housing collapse in 2008. That's proof of what can happen. Our goal is to channel growth to areas intended by our countywide growth plan for growth to happen in the UGB and along our major roads and to protect our vital agricultural areas. The reasons for that, and this first one is a caveat to the cities. By locating in the UGBs, it's easier for the cities to service and annex these areas. Number two, it lessens contact between our urban and rural citizens involved in their daily duties. If you've ever followed a combine down the road, you'll understand what I'm saying. It lessens the traffic burden on our already overcrowded rural roads. It has less of an effect on everyone's quality of life. You heard the description of the A1 area. Normal agricultural activities can be very unpleasant to people unaccustomed to them. And in the A1 district, farming takes precedent over everything. There cannot be a nuisance suit filed for anything to do with farming. It puts less of a burden on our water supply, our law enforcement, and our fire protection. It's a major safety issue. And last but not least, it helps to protect Coffee County's largest industry, farming. Most of the false and misleading narratives are not coming from farmers and common citizens, from people with something to gain. Their only talk is about money. They don't mention the problem caused by what's happened in Coffee County, the change in the quality of life, or the safety risk. They don't mention the cost involved to those of us who've already been here. One of the speakers, and he should know better, said these were massive changes and would take money away from women, widows, and little children. I think he made that in the last meeting. That's
Stop.
ridiculous.
Steve,
What's that?
your 3 minutes are up.
I'll give him my 3 minutes.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
Did you get the name?
Cancel, okay.
All right.
Couldn't see
Some
you
of
back
what
there.
we're suggesting are in the zoning resolution before and need to be reinstated. As far as land values are concerned, check it out. The threat, as the narrative goes, was going to hurt the price of property. Property values are continuing to rise. 2 recent sales, $9 million for approximately 550 acres on Highway 53, almost to Deerfield School. And this one is pretty shocking. It happened right next to me. And that's $379,000 for 11 acres on the corner of Sainville and Ragsdale Road. That's due east of Manchester, not towards Murfreesboro, due east of Manchester, 2 miles from Grundy County line and 3 miles from the Warren County line. The economy will decide the fate of land prices, not the land use decisions. In conclusion, everyone still has all the God-given rights that they had in the first place. No personal property rights are affected any more than when this resolution was adopted in 2001. I ask you to take a deep breath, be open-minded, and help us be able to continue moving Coffee County down the best path for everyone, not just the special interest groups. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Cunningham, can I ask you a question? Have people shown up at the planning commission?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, but have they put forth proposals or anything?
Mr. Seagrove's put some proposals forward, and we've talked about several. But we have a process we have to go through, which involves a public hearing and all that, so you just can't take it from the planning commission the way our dates are set up and go right to the next county commission meeting. Any other questions?
No, we're not taking questions.
Okay.
This is public comment. Here's what we gotta do right now. We're gonna pause public comment. I want you to pull up the minute approval. We're gonna step down here. We need to get to 8A pretty quick, and then we will pause business and open public comment back. So I need a motion to approve the minutes from the last meeting. We have a motion by Commissioner Morris, seconded by Commissioner D. Ford. Is there any changes, amendments to the minutes of our last meeting? If not, let's vote. Okay, the minutes have been approved with 17 yes votes. Now, we move to item 8A. 8 is resolutions, memorials, sympathy, and proclamations. We have a special individual that we want to recognize tonight. He was on our planning commission since it was invented, probably, Mr. Paul Elam. He's gone through a great deal of discomfort and effort to be here with us tonight, so I want to get this resolution of memorial and appreciation to Mr. Elam right now. Mr. Elam, if you would come to the lectern. And I want Sammy Anderson, Laura Nettles, who are members of our current planning commission, to please join me. You've been a workhorse for us. You were here when we knew you didn't feel like it. He's been on dialysis. He's had a rough life recently, physically, but he's lived a good life. This man represented our planning commission, is very specific in who we appoint and approve. He represents the ethnic minority of Coffee County's population, and he's done an excellent job throughout these years. Mr. Paul Elam, for your dedicated and loyal service to the citizens of Coffee County on the Regional Planning Commission of Coffee County, we hereby present you with this certificate. I hope there's a good place to put this and display it in your home. Come on in here, guys. We're going to get this.
Say thank you all. I enjoy myself being on the planning committee. I don't know how many years I was on it, but they couldn't find no other black guy as great as I was, so they snatched me up, put me on it, till I went in bad health. And I enjoyed it. I learned a lot. Worked with some nice guys. We all was farmers. We all understood one another. And thank God the years I was able to serve.
Mayor, can I say one thing? Mr. Elam and I went to high school together.
No.
We played football together against each, we played together. We played together. He's a good man, always has been. I've known him for a long time.
I believe this is an item to vote on. She ain't got there yet. We need to vote on this presentation as soon as your screen's available. All right, we have a motion by Commissioner Morris, seconded by Commissioner Hirschman. Any more discussion regarding this? Somebody did? You're going to have to tell me who. Who? Oh, Commissioner Duncan.
I'm sorry, I did it fast.
Yeah, that's what you gotta do. Somebody hits the amend button, you have to turn around and tell me, Commissioner, what they call it, hit the amend button, because I can't see it. Thank you. Okay, guys, we are ready to vote on this proclamation. This has been approved with 17 yes votes. Appreciate that. We're going to do another one. This one is 8B, if I'm not mistaken. This is recognition for the late Mr. Larry Crabtree. We have his widow, Mrs. Crabtree, who was a county commissioner representing a district from the city of Tullahoma. If you would, please come to the lectern. Rosemary. This proclamation is dedicated to the service of the Coffee County Board of Education from 2020 to 2024. During this time, he demonstrated a strong awareness of taxpayer concerns. We're presenting this to Mrs. Crabtree. She's a sweetheart.
Thank y'all.
We need-
Love y'all.
Okay, the motion has been made by Commissioner Miller, seconded by Commissioner Hollingsworth. Or any discussion? We're ready to vote, please. The proclamation has been approved by 17 yes votes. We're going to do one more, and that is the proclamation of Lemonade Day. Let's see. Ms. Riddle, are you in the audience? Katie Riddle, come on up. Speak as loud as you can and explain to everybody exactly what Lemonade Day is and where it is and what it contributes to.
Okay, so Lemonade Day is a youth entrepreneurship program, and the Manchester Chamber does it in partnership with both Manchester City and Coffee County Schools. Every elementary school in those two systems are part of this program. It's taught in the classroom. Students understand how to create a business plan, how to market a product, what to charge for that product, and it culminates in what we call Lemonade Day Manchester, which will be this Thursday. So I hope you're thirsty on Thursday. There will be 28 lemonade stands all across Manchester, and they are all manned by these student entrepreneurs. All of the money collected at these stands, and just to give you an indication, collectively last year it was around $27,000, amazing. So all of this money is collected, given to the schools, and the students pick 3 things to do with it. They save a little, so they can do something for their school. They can contribute to the lemonade the next year by buying t-shirts or something like that. They spend a little by rewarding themselves with a pizza party, an ice cream party, a bounce house, and they share a little. We give them a list of area nonprofits, and so they can either give a percentage of their sales or a flat rate. So these kids learn that running a business and being successful means you also contribute to your community. So many people in this community have to work to make this happen, and we are so pleased that we are able to do that because of the community we live in.
Thank you, Katie. Thank you. Katie does an excellent job on Manchester City's Chamber of Commerce.
She does.
We have a motion by Commissioner Hirschman, seconded by Commissioner Hollingsworth. Any more discussion on Lemonade Day? ready to vote, please. Commissioner Jones? Thank you. The proclamation passes with 17 yes votes. Okay, now we're going to pause business, so don't do anything with your screen down there. We're going to resume public comment. And the last person to speak was Charles Miller in opposition to the 5-acre minimum parcel size in the A1 district. So is there anybody signed up to speak that is a proponent? Nobody on that side. Everybody done on the other side, the opponents? Zach. Zach Moyden. I actually could read your name when I found it. Come on up to the lectern.
Yeah, thank you. I'm Zach Moyuddin. I live in Manchester, and I usually don't come to the meetings, but this one I wanted to speak because a resolution like this can have unintended consequences, and I refer particularly to that this resolution, with due respect, it sounds so California. And I don't mean that as a compliment. It is the kind of resolution that has the homeless problems in California go back. If you look at the roots, resolutions like these from local bodies over time, restricted housing, restricted developments, have led over time to the kind of problems that beset California. And in fact, a lot of people move from there because of the homelessness issues, starting from resolutions like this. So I say that with respect, but that this resolution is so California, and it's not meant as a compliment. The homeless problems in California go all the way back, as I already mentioned. And with respect to Coffee County, saying if this sounds like an extreme case, the population and the kind of pressures that are caused from Nashville and Murfreesboro, people moving down here, if there are fewer houses to be built, it will lead people who moved from elsewhere can afford, and they will start buying houses, existing houses, because there are not that many that can be built, and that will drive people. So you could have potentially homelessness in Coffee County as a result of this, going back to the analogy that I gave for the California example. And I understand the reason why people want to live in an open area. I'm very fortunate to live surrounded by beautiful farmlands. So I fully understand the idea, but understand the commission, you all are a legislative body. You're not an aesthetic advisory committee that people would say that do things that are proper. So the best thing to do is take time to deliberate. As I said, I fully understand why people want to live around open spaces. I do, and I'm very fortunate. So it sounds like it's being rushed because it's been the 180-day moratorium. It's not been like 30 or 40 days that have passed. So I see a disconnect between hardly 30 days have passed for the 180-day moratorium on subdivisions, and here we are with a resolution that effectively gives a resolution to that. So those are the reasons that I oppose it. I think it should be more deliberations to come with it, and that's where it is. I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anybody else on this one? Okay, we have people signed up for the resolution to abolish the position of constable. Do we have anybody wish to speak to that? Hold up. You're Mr., what's your name?
Frank Guzman.
Okay, you're with the?
I am on the board of directors, Middle Tennessee Constables.
I will recognize you when the business item is on the floor for expert witness. You can answer questions, okay?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Sanders, do you want to speak in public comment briefly?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Ladies and gentlemen of the commission, Jim Sanders, Manchester, Tennessee, live here, 35 Mill Hill Road. Last meeting, Sheriff Parton asked you to go to CTAS and look at the opinion of what a constable and the legalities, liabilities. Okay? I did a research for the past 10 years, even went farther back. Not one single constable in Coffee County has ever been sued for any reason that cost the taxpayers a single penny. Excuse me. Under the guidelines and our policies and procedures, most of y'all probably don't know we even have it, because most of you don't even know, or probably don't even know what a constable is, and that's understandable. However, when I came into office, same time as Sheriff Parton was elected, I felt it necessary to give Mayor a copy of our policies and procedures, also gave a copy to the sheriff. And we go by this. We're ruled by it. And we also abide by the TCA. And I'm going to read something here, excuse me, right quick. Tennessee constables are officers of the judicial system as prescribed by the state constitution, who are sworn and bonded peace officers with full powers of arrest under TCA Code, Title 8, Chapter 10, are charged with keeping the peace and with the enforcement of the laws of the state and county and its cities. Now, I'm not out here to be a city police officer, or a county deputy, or a THP. I'm out here for the people who elected me into office, just like y'all. They elected you in your positions as commissioners to do what's right for the people of Coffee County. We have Summitville, Beech Grove, Hillsborough, the Tullahoma districts. We have 2 constables per district, just like y'all. We are the eyes and ears of those communities. We hear things. We got theft going on in our outlying little small towns, Summitville, Beech Grove, Hillsborough. Constables in Hillsborough, Mr. Mandolino, has enhanced the neighborhood watch areas. At no given time, I don't care if it's a large city, small city, at no given time, I know the sheriff's department, they're patrolling 24/7. Look how big our county is. If something majorly goes wrong and those deputies are out doing their job as law enforcement officers, taking care of that 911 call, and something's at the other end of the county, look at the response time. And I'm not saying there's nothing wrong with the response times, don't get me wrong, but we are here to back up the law enforcement agencies. That's what we're here for. Now,
James,
sir?
your time's up.
Okay. But please, don't get rid of assets that can be used.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Thank you. Okay, we're going to resume the business items on the agenda. If you notice, the Coffee County Equalization Board was approved by approving the agenda. The next item is a unique one in that we have a term expiration on the Board of Zoning Appeals, and the county commission, you guys are the ones that appoint and elect Board of Zoning Appeals members, so the floor is now open for nominations.
Mr. Mayor, I know that there are 2 people that have put in for this. I would like to nominate Kendall Lane.
Okay, the name Kendall Lane has been introduced as a nomination for the Board of Zoning Appeals. Is the other individual in the audience that filled out the citizen participation form? Kendall Lane, would you please come to the lectern to give a chance for the individuals here, the commissioners, to ask you questions Are you please state your reason for wanting to be on the Board of Zoning Appeals?
Good evening, Commission. My name is Kendall Lane. I have lived in this community for, well, my entire life. Looking around, lots of very familiar faces. Some of you called strikes for me. Some of you have been friends of mine for a long time. I've worked with several of you for a lot of years. I've raised my family here. My family continues to live here and will. This community is important to me, and my career has been around public service in some shape, form, or fashion. In 2019, I kind of retired from that and went into private business on Whiskey Trail in Tullahoma. So I now have a little more interest in public service. And I appreciate what you guys do. You're the tip of the spear. These decisions that you guys make all affect our communities, our lives, as much as anything that could possibly happen federally. So that is really my basis by wanting to become a servant for our county. And that was my interest in becoming a member of the Zoning Appeals Commission.
Does anybody have questions for Mr. Lane? Without objection, when with no other nominations on the floor, we can approve this nomination by unanimous consent. Do you have a voting screen set up for this appointment or not? You can?
What you would need to vote is a motion to cease nominations and vote.
Correct. Okay, you're right. Our parliamentarian is always right. We need a motion to, all right, Commissioner Morris. Is this motion to cease nominations?
And vote by acclamation.
And, okay. Y'all heard that. Any more discussion? Ready to vote, please. Commissioner Watkins. Congratulations, Mr. Lane. You have been approved by 18 yes votes.
Thank you very much, Commissioner.
Mr. Mayor, there's a meeting Thursday night. The BZA meets Thursday night at 6 o'clock here.
Okay. Thank you. Keep up with our website calendar. The BZA only meets on an as-needed basis. Okay, next item on the agenda. Unfinished business done. Financial summaries. We have approved these summaries by unanimous consent, but we would like for Mariana to speak directly into the microphone and go over those for us, please. Did you bring them? I think the Budget Finance Committee wanted you to.
Well, it'd be nice if somebody
speak to
told
it.
me ahead of time. I could have been more prepared. So typically when I close the month, I try to be done by the 10th of the month. And I have in the past been emailing you these documents. But the Comptroller's Office now has requested that I put the cash flow for all the funds and that it be presented at a county commission meeting. So what this does, it gives you a year-to-date for the end of this month of revenues that have come in, expenditures that have gone out, and how they affect the budget and the percentage. So these give you a good snapshot monthly of how the revenues and expenditures are running close to the budget. So, like I said, that's what I have been doing for quite some time. And normally, if anybody has a question, I usually get emails or phone calls or even visits. So that's basically it.
You done?
I am, unless someone has a specific question.
Okay, moving on to 11B1, Capital Projects Fund.
And these are all separate votes, correct? Correct? Okay.
We'll need to get a voting screen up for this one.
Okay. Budget Amendment 171, 2025-16. This is the amending the budget for the various projects that were approved by Capital Outlay, as well as the Budget and Finance Committee. They approved the amendments on April 24th, 2025, which leaves the revised estimated fund balance is $2,818,090.
Any questions on this budget amendment? Motion by Commissioner Morris, seconded by Commissioner D. Ford. Ready to vote on this one? Amendment passes with 18 yes votes. 11B2, Fund 118, Ambulance Service Fund.
This budget amendment 118, 2025, 17, this recognized now the ambulance emergency services employees, once they receive their required annual training, receive a supplement as the Sheriff's Department and other entities do. So this came in later in the year, was not included in the original budget, so it has no effect on fund balance.
Motion by Commissioner Stubblefield, seconded by Commissioner Watkins. Any questions for our budget director? If not, let's vote. Budget amendment passes with 18 votes positive. Moving to 11B3, General Fund.
This is General Fund Amendment 101, 2025-18. This is restricted funds, also transfers and committed that occurred during the year. The section at the beginning that's at the front is revenue that's come in and expenditures that are not necessary that we're transferring down to the section in the bottom to reflect the actual cost, estimated cost of certain expenditure items. This was approved by the commission, the committee, Budget and Finance Committee on April 24th. It does decrease fund balance in the general fund by $568,603, which leaves the estimated fund balance at $9,325,235.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Stubblefield, seconded by Commissioner Reed. Any questions for our budget director? Please vote. Budget amendment approved by 18 yes votes. Thank you for that. 11B5, Highway Public Works Fund.
There's one ahead of that. 11B4.
Did I skip 4?
Yes.
Y'all didn't. B4.
This is for the Rural Capital Projects Fund. We had appropriated $250,000 for the rural fire departments and the rescue squad. We had one that we had an issue with a purchase order, so the money was not spent, and we needed to reallocate that money. Even though it wasn't spent in the proper year, it just moved forward with no effect on fund balance from the prior year. So that is a decrease in fund balance of $44,539. That leaves the new revised fund balance at $3,897,281.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Benton Brown, seconded by Commissioner Duncan. Any more discussion or questions for our budget director? Let's vote, please. Amendment 11B4 has passed with 18 yes votes. 11B5 is the next.
This is for the Highway Fund, 131-2025-20. This is a decrease in fund balance for the Highway Fund of $8,476. We're transferring some funds from capital outlay to highway and bridge maintenance, and the liability insurance increase of the $8,476. So that is a revised estimated in the Highway Fund of $1,580,892.
Motion made by Commissioner Stubblefield, seconded by Commissioner Hollingsworth. Any discussion or questions for the budget director? Let's vote, please. Amendment passes with 18 yes votes. Next item is 11B6.
The last budget amendment tonight. This is also the Rural Capital Projects Fund. Same issue with a PO and funding not being appropriated in the correct year, and we needed to correct that. Excuse me. That's 171-2025-21. It's a reduction of $41,667 in this fund. The new estimated fund balance $3,855,614.
Motion to approve by Commissioner Benton Brown, seconded by Commissioner Smith. Any more discussion or questions for the budget director? Please vote. Amendment passes with 18 yes votes. Thank you for that. Next item on the agenda, excuse me, Resolution 2025-05, amending the zoning resolution. It is in your packet. If you look, there's several things in your packet. There's a staff and planning commission report regarding this. There is also an attached letter from the Coffee County Farm Bureau in support of this resolution. Commissioner Stubblefield made the motion to approve, seconded by Commissioner Smith. Commissioner Stubblefield, you have the privilege to speak first in discussion. You're good. I'm sorry, what? Commissioner Hirschman, please state your amendment.
I'd like to amend this resolution to remove the moratorium upon approval. If this resolution is approved, I would like to have the moratorium removed. This is not on that one.
I heard that you wish for the current moratorium to expire upon approval of this zoning amendment resolution. Is that what your amendment is?
This is the amendment to change the lot size, is that correct?
That is, yes.
That's exactly what the motion is, the amendment is.
We're gonna have to vote on the amendment, right? Oh, motion is to amend to, that the moratorium, sir. Oh, you're correct, there is not. Thank you.
I'll second it.
Mr. Chairman.
Sure.
I do not believe that you can put this amendment in with this motion. Amendments to motions are supposed to modify or change that particular motion. The moratorium was a separate motion. Now, with that being said, if this passes or fails, of course, passes is what you're saying. If once it passes, there's no need to keep the moratorium going. So if it passes, then that motion could come up if the body is willing for that motion to come up. But it need to be a separate motion.
We would then amend tonight's agenda by adding a motion to, for the moratorium to expire, if this resolution obtains the necessary votes to approve. Correct? Okay. Anyone, I don't see a request to speak. Having none, I want to, Commissioner Seaborn, go ahead. The main motion. You're good? All right. Amanda Harrington, would you please step to the lectern? I want to introduce to the Coffee County the professional planner that has been retained by Coffee County government. Amanda Harrington is from RCS, did I say that right? RCS Consultants. Right now, she's under contract with the city of Bell Buckle. She's under contract with the city of Hartsville and Trousdale County, the city of McEwen, Tennessee, Dixon County, Tennessee, the city of Dixon, the city of White Bluff, the city of Burns, Tennessee, and also Hickman County. She is working on special projects with the city of Centerville, Cannon County, and now Coffee County. She is here. If you guys have scanned over her staff report, you can ask her questions regarding the specifics of this. But if you would give us a summary review of the staff and Planning Commission recommendations, please, Ms. Harrington.
Certainly. Thank you for having me here this evening. As you all are aware, with the staff report that was included in your packet this evening, Tennessee loses an estimated 87,000 acres of farmland annually, equivalent to 10 acres per hour statewide. A1 zoning comprises a substantial portion of Coffee County's remaining prime agricultural land. Larger minimum lot sizes deter speculative subdivision, reduce farmland fragmentation, and maintain larger tracts needed for commercial agriculture. Larger lots strengthen the county's traditional rural identity. Less intensive development supports groundwater recharge, maintains forest continuity, and improves wildlife habitat. The proposed amendment aligns with Coffee County's comprehensive plan, especially the goals concerning agricultural preservation, rural character, and smart growth. The 5-acre minimum is essential to alleviate the negative effects of subdivision pressures in rural areas. The amendment is reasonably related to public health, safety, and welfare by preserving rural land use patterns and supporting sustainable development. Staff and the Coffee County Planning Commission recommend that the County Commission approve the proposed zoning resolution amendment to establish 5-acre minimum lot size in the A1 Agricultural Forestry District. I'm happy to answer any questions that you may have.
So I have a couple questions. Is that okay?
You're recognized, Commissioner Seaborn.
So first of all, it says this is a staff report. Is this, I'm sorry, ma'am, where's your name again?
Amanda.
Amanda, thank you.
Yes.
Is this just your staff recommendation, or does it include the other members of our planning office?
It is mine at the,
Okay. So, a lot of good points in here, but I want to drop down to, for example, like point number 4, stakeholders support preservation efforts. Are you telling me that there are no stakeholders that are against this?
no, I'm not saying that at all.
So, why would you not include that information? I mean, it just seems to me that a staff report should be presenting pros and cons, not just one side of the argument. So I have a little issue with this report in regard to that. Some perfectly valid points on here. There are people on Pony's opposing side that also have perfectly valid points. And when it comes across as a staff report, I'm expecting a report that represents pros and cons so that I can make an informed decision, not a report that is one-sided point of view. So that's just some feedback.
Understood, sir.
Well, that's my main comment. I mean, some of these, you know, I'm not, sorry, I was trying to find the one up here. The comment that the larger minimum size deters speculation, subdivision, and fragmentation. Is that always the case, that people don't come in and buy a bunch of 5-acre lots and also fragment the farms? Because I think that's happened in other places.
It's not possible to always say one or the other.
Yeah, okay.
But it is a deterrent.
All right.
Does anybody have questions for Amanda, technical or otherwise? Thank you, Amanda.
Thank you.
At this time, I'd like to recognize James Haskew. If you would come forward. He's here to speak. He is the Executive Vice President of Tennessee State Farm Bureau, and he's adamant agricultural supporter, and he's here to answer questions for you and make a short statement.
I appreciate the time with you all this evening. I'll try to keep any comments very brief, but as I join you this evening, I'll tell you I come from a cousin county, Marion County, just 35 miles southeast of here, and they do not enjoy the privileges that you have as having zoning. The county is non-zoned, and in the recent term, we have addressed special powers because the county commission wanted to invoke special powers to have the ability to control what develops in the county. I live in a part of the county. We're in a 5-mile radius. I have a 5,000-acre development, a sawmill, a large sawmill, 2 pallet mills, 3 rock yards, 3 churches, and a lot of farmland and a lot of people that live on small tracts of land. So I'm associated with how the land can get divided up and broke up. But I represent the state of Tennessee through the Tennessee Farm Bureau as their vice president. And I'm not here to tell you that I would be for or against what you all are looking at this evening. I'm just here to give you a few facts from what I see as I travel across the state representing the farmers and agriculture leaders across the state. The agriculture is one of the major industries. Of course, it's in the center of the seal of the state. But one of the things we must remember here is once land is taken out of agriculture, it's not going to come back. And that's one of those things that we have to remember. And the governor just this week signed, or in the past few days, signed the Farmland Preservation Bill. It's not a cure-all to the issue of farmland laws, but it would give some people the opportunity to put some land and set it aside. That bill has been in work for the last 24 months, and the governor has put a lot of effort into that. But we also work towards trying to understand the difference between progress and growth. There's a big difference there. Without progress, we would still be on the coast with Columbus and the Pilgrims. But with growth, we must understand that growth comes with casualties, whether that be the loss of farmland or whether it be the loss of some delicate area in the state. We have to address that on a county level, a state level, and I think as we work towards that, we have lost track of where we're headed. And I don't mean that to be condescending like, but I look at it from this standpoint as I travel across the state. Someone mentioned Williamson County a while ago. Williamson County is one of the hot growth spots in the state, but there it moves farther south now, and Murray County is almost as hot as Williamson County. So as we move along, though, let's think back 20, 25 years ago here in Coffee County. I know in my county, in Marion County, 25 years ago, there was probably more farmers in the county than there were real estate agents. Now today, I'd say the same as a value here in Coffee County. There's far more real estate agents than there are farmers. And so it's a change, and it's a dynamic that we've got to start looking at as the agriculture industry. When we talk about a 5-acre tract, well, a 5-acre tract years ago was a farm. Sammy, 5 acres is a few minutes now. And the chunks of land that's required for farming is not what it was 35 years ago, and farming has become more integrated, and it's from chicken houses to hogs to the grains. And the equipment is bigger. The more people that come, they have to address the idea that they don't understand why we have to be here. I live in an area much less rural than you all. I live along I-24. 24 and US 72 meets in Kimball, and I have to travel through that. Wow. All of North Alabama comes my way, and everything coming over the mountain that gets off I have to deal with. And we have a smaller group, and the community is not ag-oriented as it is here in Coffee County. But I think that's one of the things that we must remember as we start and continue to look at these changes that's being proposed to you all or by you all. Just because we make a proposal or just because we make a change, it affects the future. Not today, but down the road. Open space taxation gives the county easy money. And for years, taxation of real estate across to farmers and rural property owners has generated unbiased profitability to the counties. As the more the growth comes, the more will be demanded, and counties will have to participate more and more. And they will soon figure that the cost of operating the county will be much greater than it was when we had a lot of open space in the counties. Even though under Greenbelt it's not taxed as much as it could be, it still generates a less expense taxation for you all as county leaders than what you would be in the future. And that's just something else that we need to keep in mind as we move forward, because development is coming. There's more developers, there's more money. And if you'll think as I close out, just think in Proverbs 28, in 18 and 24, or 28, 18 through 28. It tells a story of the man that goes fast for the dollar, the man that sells for his parents' inheritance, and the farmer that has the food to keep. We all need to keep in mind that just because we're all here, we're all Coffee Countyans, we're all Tennesseans, and I do appreciate your time, and I hope I have not wasted it this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anybody have any questions? Does anybody have any questions for Mr. Haskew at all?
I've served on the Land Use Planning Committee in Marion County, and I'm just pretty active with the state across with the Farm Bureau. It's just pretty important that we keep in mind where we've came from, and let's not lose track of that. Thank you.
Anybody got questions? Thank you, Mr. Haskell. Okay, the floor is still open for discussion. Nobody wish to speak to this? Commissioner Seaborn? Lynn, is your microphone on back? Yeah, I'm sorry.
And so there, I can see some benefit from that. But there's nothing in what we're doing tonight that stops anyone from walking in and asking for a rezone to residential space and thereby being qualified to put a subdivision on it. And as I understand it, people are saying they don't want subdivisions. Not everybody's saying that, but a lot of people are. Well, if the only thing I gotta do is come to the planning commission and request a rezone, having these 5-acre lot sizes will not in and of itself stop subdivisions. And I think we just need to be honest about that with everyone. I think everyone in the room needs to understand that, right? And the planning commission's job is to look at our entire county and say, if we're gonna put subdivisions somewhere, where should they be? And then put on a land use map, a future land use map, in the future, this area up and down one of our major highways is gonna be for that. And out in the country, it's gonna stay A1. And then you have to have some commitment to that, right? Because I think we all understand sitting here that 5 years from now, new commission, new planning commission could change all this, right? But I feel like what we're trying to do is stop subdivisions in A1 when what we ought to be talking about is where should the subdivisions go and have that future land use map and therefore future zoning set up correctly. And that study needs to be going on. That's going to take a while. And we should have input from the rural communities. We should also have input from the developers. And we should have input from people that want to sell their land. We should have input from the cities and the county. And that's what we should be doing during this moratorium period. But it's not happened. So we can take this vote tonight. We can take the moratorium off. And a year from now, we'll be back in here having the same conversation because somebody will be asking for a rezone and they'll get it. And then all these people are gonna feel like, well, you told me there wasn't gonna be a subdivision next to my place and now I'm having to come up here and fight it again. So that's my concern about what's going on a larger scale. On a smaller scale from the city of Tullahoma's point of view, I have a question about this. So as I understand it right now, any A1 that's inside the urban growth boundaries for the cities will also be affected at the first level by this zoning. I mean, by this zoning change, correct? I mean, it's a zoning change.
I would say yes, if there's A1 property, the way the this amendment is written, it would be affected.
Yeah.
But the rezoning is in control of the municipality.
Yes, correct. So then any rezoning to come, instead of coming to county, anything in the urban growth boundary gets rezoned, it's gonna come to the Tullahoma Regional Planning Commission.
If it's in the UGB.
In the UGB is
Yeah.
what I'm talking about, yeah. And for Manchester, I think it's the same, but I'm not sure Manchester is set up the same way that Tullahoma is, because that's the conversation I was having with Mr. Lucas
It is
today.
the same.
Yeah. I'm debating whether to request an amendment to exclude the urban growth boundaries from this, because we feel like it may cause us some issues with our planning at the city level. I'm uncertain about that. For one thing, our planning director is not certain what the impact would be to his office if we did that. If we don't do that, if this passes tonight, we're not certain what the impact is to the cities in the urban growth boundaries. So I'd be
Would you
interested-
like to propose an amendment to this resolution to remove the urban growth
I guess I'd
boundary
like to hear if
A1
any, I
properties?
guess I'd like to hear if anybody else has any concerns or comments about that.
I would think any city, any representative from the two municipalities would be the ones with the concern, because they represent the appropriate municipalities. So if the urban growth boundary A1, I think it would be minimal, but I mean, even as we discussed today, Tullahoma has A1 property within their municipal boundaries with 5-acre minimum lot sizes. So if any city, Tullahoma City or Manchester, you got request to speak, please push your button. Thank you. Thank
I
you.
would support an amendment from Mr. Seaborn. I've had brief meetings with the planning commission for the city, and I would echo what he says. I believe it's going to cause some problems for our UGBs in the future with subdivisions and things that are being planned.
All right, I'll make that amendment, the motion to amend this resolution to exclude the UGB zones from this 5-acre minimum.
I would second that.
Okay. The motion to amend that would exclude, because this resolution to amend is strictly for A1 properties, not any other properties. So the concern of our two municipalities would be any A1 property in the UGB would be affected. So this amendment would be to remove the UGB parcels zoned A1 only. We're not talking about any other district. So your motion with the second is to amend this to where UGB A1 parcels are exempt from this rule. I don't, let's see, I've got one motion, but not a second. All right, this is the motion to amend it. I'm showing on my screen. Are y'all working on it? Oh, okay. We all love computers, don't we? Commissioner Seaborn has made the motion to amend. You don't show an amend button on your tablet? I don't either. That's the main motion. Correct. Yep.
He can amend it right there, can he not?
I can't. Can we just take a voice vote on the amendment and move on to the main motion as amended? Can we just take a voice vote on the? Okay, all right. All right, we have a motion to amend by Commissioner Seaborn, seconded by Commissioner Benton Brown. The amendment is to remove this minimum 5-acre parcel size, lot size, would not apply to any A1 district property within the urban growth boundaries of either city. Is that correct, Commissioner Seaborn?
That would be any urban growth boundary in the county. Is that only Coffee County, Manchester? I don't know if there's anything.
We only have 2 municipalities, so
Well, I
it
thought
would be.
I thought there was a UGB around Hillsborough. Maybe.
No,
Okay.
that's PGA.
Okay.
That's planned growth areas. Any more discussion? Commissioner Seaborn, you have privilege to speak if you want to. You probably said everything. You wish to speak any more regarding this? Okay, let's vote on the amendment. The motion to amend the resolution has been approved by 18 yes votes. Thank you for that. Now we're ready to go back to the main motion as amended. Okay, now, anybody wish to speak? The floor is open for discussion regarding this motion to amend. Commissioner Hodge.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you for the opportunity to speak. I've heard many perspectives this evening, but I have yet to hear, even since we started this, the whole reason for the moratorium. I have yet to hear what the problem was with the system we had, or who wasn't doing their job, who was failing to do their job. I still haven't heard that, and I've been watching when I couldn't attend the commission meetings, watching the videos and things like that, and I still haven't heard clearly what is the problem with the system we have now, and number two, if there's not a problem with that, who's not doing their job? And someone mentioned earlier about putting together a committee, an ad hoc committee made of members of this CLB, other members from the other establishments and citizens in the county. And if we're going to keep doing the moratorium, why can we not come up with that committee and have that established, all parties speaking to this? We do need to be communicating with each other. There's been lots of principles spoken here this evening. One of those principles, again, of private property rights. And yeah, this does change to some extent what someone can do with their property. But I still, going back to that, and Commissioner Seaborn, I think, if I didn't misunderstand what he was saying, we haven't heard yet what the specifically what the problem is with the system we've got right now. And so that's my concern with this.
Commissioner Nettles, you have the floor to speak.
Yes, thank you. I wanted to address Commissioner Hodge. I know several commission meetings back, you recommended that the commissioners come together with the planning commission to come up with a resolution. You have yet to come to any of those meetings or participate. You wasn't at the work session. So if you want to hear and be involved, you should come to the meetings.
Commissioner Tim Brown, you have the floor.
I just want to mention what Commissioner Seaborn said about the discussion. I don't think we all know enough on this to pass it tonight, so I'd like to make a motion to put it off for a while till we discuss it. The lot sizes and the whole rezoning.
Okay, if you're wanting to postpone this, you need to specify a meeting you want to postpone it to. If you just say postpone it for a while, that is considered postponing it indefinitely. And so you really want to, I think you want to postpone it to a specific meeting, so you need to specify that in your motion.
I'd like to postpone it until, just say 60 days, because we need more time to discussion with the farmers, with the real estate people and commissioners, because I just don't think we have enough information on it.
Without a second, your motion fails. Commissioner Hirschman, you have the privilege to speak first. You don't have to. Commissioner Hodge, you've already spoken once. All commissioners are allowed to speak once before any commissioner is allowed to speak twice. Commissioner Hirschman?
I would just like to say, I've been going to every one of the committee meetings that has to deal with planning committee. I've not missed a one since I started going to them. I've learned a lot in them. I learned that these people that are on this committee were appointed and they have been doing their due diligence to come to a resolve and a resolution. They've had the county farmers, the agriculture people, they've had realtors, they've had the developers in these meetings every time, and they've listened to what they've said, and they took that under consideration. They've came back with a recommendation to us for this, and for us to sit here and keep questioning a committee that's been doing their work, and we asked them to sit there and do 2 meetings a month. They did that. I know because I was there. If you would just get up off your couch and go to their meetings. I know people work, I work, but you can get up off your couch and go to that meeting. They are working hard to get this resolved. And I think they've come to a pretty close conclusion to it. But I know that you're never going to satisfy everybody. But I do know that the people in my community have told me how to vote. And if I don't vote how they tell me, they need to vote me out. That's exactly what they need to do. Thank you.
Commissioner Tim Brown, you've already spoke once. Does anybody wish to speak to this? You're on.
Well, since the farmers and real estate people, everybody went to the meetings, how many commissioners went to the meetings?
1,
Okay, that's not all of us.
2,
We didn't have.
3,
4. Yeah, all of them, not just one. You don't learn everything in one meeting. So how many went?
those 4 have almost been to every one of them besides me.
So really nobody.
You came to one,
Don't
Tim.
have enough information.
Tim, you came to one meeting, and that's the only meeting you came to.
Okay, we're not going to go back and forth. If you want to speak, you're going to get your speaking in order. Those that wish to speak to this right now, Commissioner Smith, you have the floor.
I would like to add, it's obvious who the commissioners are who have not been to any of the meetings for the Planning Commission. I'm not on the Planning Commission, and I knew that I needed to attend, even though it was very difficult for me to be there. I had to leave work early. I made a point to be there. I learned a lot. I saw the hard work that the Planning Commission has done. The developers, the lawyers, the realtors, they all got their chance to speak. The people have told, our constituents have given us what they would like for us to vote, and that's what we're prepared to do. But again, there are people that are commissioners, obviously, that have not been to one planning commission, nor have they watched it on the video. If they had, they wouldn't ask questions like, how big is a major division? So, that's all.
Anybody else wish to speak before I recognize Commissioner Hodge? Commissioner Hodge. You have the floor, Commissioner Hodge.
Thank you again, Mr. Chairman. I've been watching my video because there's medical situations going on. It was questionable where I could even be here tonight. So I've been trying to do my best due diligence to watch. But again, in watching these and being able to go back and rewind them, we're talking about a lot of things, but are we saying that the whole problem and the whole moratorium is based on just a 5-acre specification change? Is that why the whole moratorium was done? I mean, I'm just asking the question, and like I said, trying to keep up best I can and watching the videos. And yes, I couldn't be at the meeting, but I tried to be there, tried to be here tonight. But that was my question. Not trying to be a smart aleck or anything like that, but is a 5-acre designation the answer to the problem that caused this 6-month moratorium? And I haven't heard an answer to that yet, but apparently it is, because here's this resolution. So that was my concern. Thank you.
Commissioner Seaborn.
I'll make a couple final comments and then I'll hush. And I think some of what I was saying is basically a reflection of what Mr. Hodge just said. Is this all there is? Is this really the full resolution? And I think this may be a piece of the solution of some parts, but I don't think it's the solution to all the problems that we're worried about. It got mentioned in the comments earlier by someone, I can't remember who, but making the comment about, what's the criteria going to be for a variance? And you and I have had this discussion. I think we agree that, I'm sorry, I shouldn't speak for you, but we've had this discussion about, we were in a habit for a while of approving setback variances almost by default every time. But yet, if we're approving it every time, then it shouldn't be a variance. That should be the standard. You shouldn't have to pay a fee to have a variance hearing every time you're doing the standard thing. And we're hearing, like, even amongst this, well, we're going to allow some people to have a variance to give an acre lot to their kid. We need a standard for that. We need some standard for that decision. We shouldn't, because to be honest, I'm not casting aspersions on anybody serving on the committee or the commission. But when you have that sort of situation, it's ripe for corruption. When you just have variances that aren't defined, what some of the reasons are, then it just becomes a matter of who you know or who's your buddy or other favors that could be. So for the sake of keeping things clean and orderly, we need to have some discussion. We don't have to figure that out tonight, but we need to have some discussion on what qualifies for variance. And I would say the same thing even for approving subdivisions requests. What's our criteria going to be for approving a subdivision? To me, it ought to be a criteria that's in an area that's been set forth on a land use map and it's in that zone. But if somebody comes up tomorrow and says, okay, well, I'm going to immediately move to now rezone that 5 acres out in the middle of nowhere to residential, what's the criteria going to be for evaluating that? And it's got to be a fair criteria where everybody has a chance to get what they want and the commission can. And I will say that if we have rezoning requests that way, that ultimately comes to the county commission. We're going to get a say. The planning commission can give an unfavorable recommendation, and then there can be an appeal that comes to us on that. So we're not out of the hot seat, by the way, passing this tonight, right? It's going to come back again to us. So I just appeal to people to understand that this is not a single fix, whatever it is we do tonight.
Thank you. Commissioner Benton Brown.
I'm not going to be petty here. I did ask a question last night during the work session about what a major subdivision was. For your information, Ms. Smith, I have watched all the planning and zoning committee meetings on YouTube. I don't have the luxury of being here at the time specified for the meetings because I do work for the public in another job. And I'm trying to learn this, just like most people in here. That's why we ask questions. So the next time that you want to call me out, do it in private.
Anybody wish to speak to this subject while the floor is open? Commissioner Tim Brown.
I just got a question. I don't think it's called out, but anyway, back to the 5 acres and get a special exception to cut it into 1 acre lots, go before the planning commission, so somebody could buy 5 acre tracts and then come before the board and have it recut up. Is that correct? I mean, can they do that?
Restate the question one more time.
If I wanted to buy 5 of the 5 acre tracts altogether and then have them rezone and cut up into 1 acre tracts, I mean, that's.
That's highly possible, yes. Yes.
But Mayor, wouldn't 5 acre tracts make that a major subdivision?
5 tracts would.
That's what he
He was
asked.
using a lot of 5s in there, but you're talking about 4 5 acre tracts would be no, 5 acres is not a subdivision. You
No,
can
he
do
said,
5
he
acres all you
said
want
if
to
he
forever
went through
without
and
asking
bought
anybody.
5 5 acre tracts, that becomes a major subdivision because you
No.
bought 5 tracts.
No. 5 acres is not considered a subdivision at all by TCA.
I buy 5 of them together.
If you're talking about 1 parcel or 5 parcels?
5 parcels.
Amanda, correct me, am I right or wrong?
It would be 25 acres total, is what they're saying, is what I'm understanding the question to be.
Would that be a major subdivision?
It depends if there's an extension of utilities or roads or not. The purchase of the property.
All right, everybody calm down a minute. I want to give you the definition of a subdivision. It's the division of property. It has nothing to do with a house, okay? A minor subdivision is a parcel divided into 4 separate parcels. A major subdivision is 1 parcel divided into 5 or more parcels. TCA says a parcel 5 acres or larger does not meet the definition of subdivision. You can buy 6 acre lots all day long, hire Nick Northcutt to survey it, go down to the deeds office, and you're done. You don't have to come into the county office building. 5.01, that's why we have so many subdivisions in this county that are on 5.01. They just want to be sure they had the 5 acres. Public comment is over, Mr. Harrell. Any more discussion on this before we vote on the main motion as amended? Does everybody understand the main motion and the amendment to it? Any more questions? We're ready to vote. We have 10 yes votes, 8 no votes. The amendment to the zoning resolution has passed. Now, who wanted to make a motion on the moratorium?
Terry, this would require 2 motions. The first motion is to add the moratorium to the agenda. And that would have to pass. If it passes to add the moratorium to the agenda, then you can make the second motion that you was trying to make as an amendment. And the motion to add the moratorium to the agenda requires a 2/3 vote to pass, because you're changing the agenda.
Mayor, I'd like to make a motion to add to the agenda, removing the moratorium.
I'll second it.
Are you able to get a voting screen pulled up for that? We're adding. All right, the motion on the floor with a second is to have the moratorium expire immediately.
The motion just to add it to the agenda.
I'm sorry.
To add it to the agenda. That's got to pass first.
I'm sorry. Yeah, that means we've got to have 11 or 11 votes? 12, correct. We are amending the agenda.
Was there any discussion on that? Was there any discussion on that? We could do a voice vote and let her record it, or what? What do you think? It says resolution, amend zoning resolution. They're voting on the main resolution. We've already done it. We've already voted.
Some people have already voted on 11D is what she's talking about. Which we're not even on that one.
Yeah, 11D.
Oh, I got you. Okay. How about, let's move to 11D and everybody vote on 11D after we get a motion. I don't know how it got to voting without a motion for it. Yeah, we'll do that. All right, guys, we're on 11D. This is resolution to amend our same zoning resolution because we're rezoning a parcel. This is a prime example of how this stuff works. The urban growth boundary of Tullahoma extends all the way 55 till it meets the city limits of of Manchester. So Tullahoma's Planning Commission voted to approve to rezone this individual's property with a positive recommendation. So the motion has been made by Benton Brown and seconded by Commissioner Morris. Is there any discussion on rezoning this property? You got the floor to speak to it if you need to, Mr. Morris. You grab the microphone. You wish to speak to it? Let's vote, please. Oh, wait, I'm sorry. Commissioner Miller, you have the floor.
I think I've gotten confused. What are we voting on now?
You're rezoning, huh? Sure, go ahead.
We have experienced technical difficulties.
That's what confused me.
Right. So the motion that Mr. Hirschman made about adding the moratorium was not in the computer. And so what we've decided to do is to dispense with that right, or not do that right now. Go ahead and follow what's in the computer, and then allow Mr. Hirschman, if he still wants to do that, at the end of the meeting, add that motion and deal with that issue then.
Thank you. That's all I had.
Okay. The motion by Benton Brown, seconded by Commissioner Morris, will change the zoning district in which this parcel lies, which is next to Rose Hill Memorial Cemetery. Any questions? Let's vote, please. This motion passed by 18 yes votes. The property has been rezoned. Okay, now that brings us to 11E. This is the motion to abolish the position of constable in Coffee County. We have a motion by Commissioner Hirschman, seconded by Commissioner Stubblefield. Commissioner Hirschman, you have the privilege to speak first. Floor is open for discussion.
I've been to a couple of meetings with the state about this, and with CTASC attorneys and state attorneys. Right now, my reason for wanting this to happen, or even looking at this, is because the county is liable if Mr. Sanders or any other constable goes out here and pulls his gun out and happens to fire that weapon, and they're not being used as a county employee. They are considered our employee, and who's going to be liable will be the county taxpayers. And I'm trying to look out for the county taxpayers. This has nothing to do with constables. We don't use them for what used to be used back in 1973 and 74 and 75 and even into the 80s, early 80s. We don't use a constable like they used to be used. And right now, to me, it's just a liability that we do not have to have upon the county to sit there and foot the bill for, just in case something does happen. I'm not saying that it will ever happen. He's already came up with a time frame that said it has never happened so far. It's not the time that it could happen. It will happen at some point or another. It's not anything against constables. I just think their time has come and that time has passed, and it's time to make some changes in that area.
Mr. Guzman, Frank Guzman, would you please come to the lectern? Introduce yourself and tell us who you represent, please.
Okay, my name is Frank Guzman. I am a constable from Wilson County. I'm on the board of directors for Middle Tennessee, and I'm here representing Mr. Saunders. And what I'd like to do is I'd like to answer any questions that anyone has here. But before I do that, I'd like to address the few things that I heard in viewing the video that was sent to me. There are 48 Tennessee counties that have constables, not 22. The Tennessee Constable Association also owns the defunct Tennessee Constable Conference. They have members in 39 of these counties, and we can't speak for the other counties because there's an East Tennessee Constable Association. The sheriff here, Sheriff Parton, I believe his name is, was mentioning that he was concerned about training of the constables, that they didn't have as much training as deputy sheriffs. And that's correct. I understand that. I am a former special agent for the Drug Enforcement Administration, starting with the old Federal Bureau of Narcotics, going through all the name changes. I've been an assistant attaché at the United States Embassy in Mexico City, working undercover at Mexico. Prior to that, I was a special agent for the United States Air Force Inspector General for the Office of Special Investigations. I became concerned when the sheriff got over there and was talking about the training, because the sheriff is allowed to get over there and have special deputies. And under the statute, the special deputies have to have 80 hours of training before they go to work. And it doesn't mention whether the 80 hours means anybody who's a police officer coming to work with the sheriff on special occasions or not. So I don't know, I just wanted to bring that up. But the sheriff, being on the board of directors, was concerned about training. Sitting on the governor's desk right now today, as of the 9th of this month, was Senate Bill 1065, which is something that I was working on, getting the constables to get 128 hours of training, which is more than deputies, special deputies would have. I thought that that's something that the commission should be aware of. The training that they receive, everybody I've heard mention here tonight about having jobs. Constables do have jobs. Constables are concerned about the community. All the Coffee County elected commissioners and positions are paid jobs. A constable is not a paid job. A volunteer fireman gets a $600 stipend from the state. Plus you get, in many cities or counties or whatnot, it's allowed to go up to the county itself paying for something. Most constables are members of the Police Benevolent Association, or of, I can't think of, there's another police organization. I'm a member of the PBA. But we're insured if our firearm goes off, if we shoot somebody, if we give somebody a ticket and they sue us. So we're relieving the county from some of the liability. But the fact of the matter is that we are employees of the county in the sense that we've been elected. It would be no different than if someone on the commission was elected, if the sheriff was elected. I'm not trying to pick anything on anybody, but if you folks are gonna, before you ask me any questions, if you decide to vote to eliminate the constables, I believe that there's some members of the commission here that under the common law and under a couple of Tennessee codes can't serve as a commissioner while they're a law enforcement officer, because it's a dual holding and it's a violation of the separation of powers. Now, I'm open to answering any question truthfully. If I don't know the answer, I'll be glad to get over there and say, I don't know the answer. And I will find you the answer. Ladies and gentlemen, ask away.
Guys, ask him questions. You know, that's what he's here for. If you have them. Commissioner Smith, you have the floor.
My question goes back to the liability to the county. I don't understand. Is there liability to the county? If there is, then can we fix it? Is there an insurance policy that can include the constables? If that is the case, I would like to know what your answer is.
Okay, first of all, I'm not an attorney. I don't try to be an attorney because that's a felony, and I don't want to be arrested. However, most constables carry a certain amount of liability insurance on their own. I cannot speak for anyone other than Mr. Sanders because I know that we both have the same insurance. What the insurance does is it gives us an attorney to defend us for whatever the costs are. We also carry a particular bond by statute in case we do something wrong, usually in serving subpoenas and things like that. There are some counties that if they want, they can pay the bond. And if you can pay the bond, you can also pay the insurance. It could also be tacked on. I was reading on the authority of the sheriff for his special deputies. They also have the authority to exchange deputies. And I believe that the statute gets over there and says law enforcement officers. Constables are law enforcement officers under the rules of the state of Tennessee. And under these circumstances, it requires, if they bring in someone, let's say for exchange officers from another county, or you need someone for a disaster and you need as many law enforcement officers as you can, the county can pick up and get insurance for these officers. So I do believe that the county could perhaps add on to the sheriff's, without giving him liability, insurance policy. It's something you would have to talk to your insurance agent about. But I believe it can be done. And you've only got 4 folks. To the best of my ability on researching, there's never been a Coffee County constable that's been arrested. There have been deputy sheriffs and public officials that have been arrested. That doesn't mean it's not going to happen. But I mean, what you're getting is you're getting someone who's doing their best to serve this county, and it's free of charge. Now, there are counties, I'll give you an example, Madison County, Jackson, Tennessee. The sheriff there gets along with his constables, and he actually has the constables handling all the security at their airport. There are other counties where constables and the sheriff don't get along. Now, in the 6 years that I've been a constable, if I recall correctly, the majority of problems with constables have been in East Tennessee. But I'm the one who's responsible for constables getting 40 hours of yearly training. Because as a federal agent, one of the things that I saw was that constables weren't getting training. So I spoke to the commission, and I spoke to my senator, and they got over there and they passed the 40 hours for the constables. You have to understand, constables have been here for many, many years. And there's a lot of folks that have been constables that they're human beings. They don't want to have to do this and they don't want to have to do that. But the fact of the matter is times change and you have to change with the times. So we were working on 120 hours that now has passed both houses. And Post stepped in and they put a waiver on it that if you've been a police officer for, I believe it was 5 years before you become a constable, you don't have to take the 120 hours. But things have changed. Now constables have to go and take a psychological examination just like a police officer. They have to take the 40 hours of training. They have to take 120 hours of training before they can become a constable while holding a full-time job. Now, the thing that's going to happen is this, in my opinion, is what Post has done to stop anybody here from becoming a sheriff unless they've got so many years of police experience. They step in and they say, you have to do this training, but you've got to get over there and you've got to be a police officer to be exempt for it. What they've done with passing this bill is they are, in my opinion, eliminating the constable's position unless you have been a police officer. Because that's what they did to the sheriff's department. You can't be a sheriff unless you've been a police officer or a federal agent like I was.
Commissioner Seaborn, you have the floor. Was that an accident? Do you have anything else, Mr. Guzman? Anybody got a question?
No, sir, I don't have anything else.
Okay. There being none, the floor is still open for discussion. If there be none, remember this is a vote that if it does receive favorable vote, it has to be 2 consecutive meetings to take effect. Commissioner Hirschman?
I got one question I want to ask Mr. Sanders. Do you run blue lights on your vehicle?
Yes, sir, I do.
So you're a full-time salaried uniform officer, is that correct?
I'm a what?
So are you full-time,
What do you mean by full-time?
paid?
I'm retired military, and I have a little boat shop, and I do.
According to
My-
according to state of Tennessee, then you're illegal, be running red lights on your vehicle.
No, sir. I
According
am
to,
approved to use blue lights.
do what?
I am approved to use blue lights.
Where? Give me what code you're using. I've just got this from the state of Tennessee. This is right hot off the press. Only those constables who retain law enforcement authority in the following counties may run blue lights: DeKalb County, Johnson County, Crockett, Carter, Madison, and Washington. This is Coffee County.
And where did you find that at, sir?
That is the TCA 55-9-414B. Then pursuant to that, before that one, which is 55-9-414A, only full-time salaried uniformed law enforcement officers may use blue flashing emergency lights on their vehicles.
So you're telling me that all the constables in Coffee County are illegal? If they have blue lights on their.
I'm not telling you that.
Or the state of Tennessee is,
State
okay?
of Tennessee is telling you.
All right. Let's see.
Commissioner Tim Brown, you have the floor while Mr. Sanders is looking
I'm
this
kinda-
answer up.
What code was that, sir?
55-9-414A and 414B.
Okay, the Tennessee codes relating to constables are 8, 10, 101, and what follows. I don't know what 55 is, but it's not applicable to it.
Pursuit policy.
This evidently has been put on the books for a pretty good long time. It's, how about dated March 15th, 1983? It says a violation of the TCA 55-9-414A. Section 1 is a Class C misdemeanor. I'm just reading you what they gave me, and this is from the
Okay.
state attorney.
55-108,
No, it's 55-8.
55-8-108. As far as blue lights go, on D, an authorized emergency vehicle operated as a police vehicle may be equipped with or display a red light only in combination with the blue light visible from the front of the vehicle. But that doesn't get over there and speak to constables. Under the constable chapter, it specifically allows constables to have blue lights.
You want this, you can have this, this is.
If you give me a second, I'll find it. Oh, jeez. My daughter got me an iPhone and I'm having trouble operating it.
Can we call the question? Call the question.
I'm gonna call question.
Commissioner Nettles has called the question. Does that stop debate, Mr. Parliamentarian? I recognize her comment to call the question. We go to vote, correct?
Yes.
Voting screen, please. Remember, this takes 2/3 vote, 2 consecutive meetings.
Okay, the constables are covered under this, and I'm almost there. Eight, 10, 120 covers constable patrol cars. Constable patrol cars may be white with brown stripes running horizontal along the upper side. This color scheme shall not be used by any other state or local law enforcement official or agency, provided that any state or local law enforcement official or agency that is using such color scheme on March 29, 1996 may continue to use such color scheme when adopted for use by a county constable. The stripe designation and other emblems and letterings shall conform to the official uniform markings. That's for a marked car. Constable patrol cars, this is section B. Constable patrol cars which conform to the description in subsection A, which are being operated as provided in 55-9414, and which are used as emergency vehicles may be equipped with blue lights and/or red lights and siren. Under C, nothing in this section shall prohibit a county constable from operating unmarked cars for other law enforcement purposes. D, any constable operating a patrol car and using the lights described in this section must have graduated from the last calendar date in service sponsored by the Tennessee Constable Association, and I can verify that Constable Saunders was a member of that class because I was also.
Thank you.
We are voting on this motion to abolish the office of constable. Commissioner Jones, you need to vote, please. The motion, that would be passes. 13 yes, 4 no, and 1 abstain. So that is a 2/3, so this motion to abolish has passed. Thank you, guys. Remember, you guys, we got another, it's got to be done again, so show up if you got some good arguments the next time.
The only argument I'd like to make is to have the county attorney verify the folks that can vote.
Prior to the next meeting.
Yes, sir, thank you.
Okay. Are we down to Sandy Committee?
No.
Let's see.
I've lost my second page, I got so much stuff.
Mayor, 11F. We're trying to move
Okay.
along here.
I don't need this. All right, we're on 11F, grant applications. Motion by Commissioner Hirschman, second by Commissioner Hodge. Any discussions? Let's vote, please. Grant application has been approved by 18 yes votes. Thank you for that. What is next? I've lost my second. Oh, yeah. Terry, you need to restate your motion to amend the agenda.
Need to make amendment to the agenda. Oh, wait, yeah, we do have one more. It's F2, 11F2.
We'll let you buy this time. So motion by Commissioner Hodge, seconded by Commissioner Benton Brown for the man. This is another one, right? Separate, okay. 11F2. Any discussion? Ready to vote? Commissioner Tim Brown? Are you voting? Thank you. Motion passes by 18 yes votes. Thank you. What's the next one?
At this time, I'd like to make a motion to amend the agenda to remove the moratorium.
I'll second that.
Motion to amend the agenda made by Commissioner Hirschman, seconded by Commissioner Morris. Do we have to state what he's putting on there? Okay, amended the agenda to add the moratorium. Does require 2/3. Any discussion on what we're doing? Dwight. Commissioner Miller.
What is the actual effect of this if we do vote on this? I mean,
All you're doing is amending the agenda right now. There's not a controversy, I wouldn't think.
okay.
You ready to vote? We're amending the agenda. Have you got? I'm good with it. Take 2/3. All those in favor of amending the agenda, raise a hand. Looks like 2/3 to me. Okay, now we have an item that's been added to the agenda, which is to end the moratorium. Is that correct?
That's correct. I make a motion to remove the moratorium from that has been stated or installed on the planning committee, by the planning committee and this board to go ahead and have that removed.
11H. The motion is to amend the moratorium. Is there any discussion on that? Because we're going to have to do a show of hands again, and this will be a simple majority. Okay, thank you. Any discussion? You wish to speak, Commissioner Morris? Oh, all those in favor of the motion to... Somebody called the question. You have the floor, Commissioner Miller.
This question I wanted to ask earlier is, what is the effect of this? It doesn't seem to me like it's going to have any effect. This amendment of killing the moratorium.
May I speak, sir?
Sure. Commissioner Hirschman has the floor.
Reason why I want to get rid of it is because it's just on our book. And right now, it means nothing. They've already had 23 different plots go through that office already the last 60 days since they had this moratorium installed, and which is done zero. So I say get rid of it, and it's off of us then. That's why I'm saying get rid of it. Nobody honored it either. All they've done is flooded the planning committee.
Any more discussion on this?
Yes, did I understand, Mr. Hirschman, that you said that the moratorium that this group agreed to for a 180-day period to allow all of the people that wanted to participate in the going-ons at the planning, or am I understanding that you said the moratorium was ineffective and effect was ignored and that plots were processed through planning anyway? Steve, could we get you to comment on that?
Commissioner Benton Brown, you have the floor.
Now that the subject's come up, I'm kind of curious. If that's accurate from what Mr. Hirschman is saying, why didn't the Planning Commission abide by it?
The Planning Commission, I don't think approved anything.
Okay, so if
there are parcels that are automatically approved by our codes enforcement officer.
But 20 plus plots went through for A1 zoning that was not supposed to have went through because of the moratorium. Yes?
I feel like those were ones that already had their applications in, so it didn't apply to them. The
So it was
application
prior to the moratorium.
Right. They were already, the applicants were already
Well,
done.
okay,
So it didn't
so I
apply
was
to
just
them.
clearing that up because that wasn't said. Okay.
There were plots, planning, that were already in the system. So those were processed, but that should have already taken care of itself. If there's something else in the system, I would think it would put a stop to that right now for the duration up to 180 days, unless this commission decides that we in fact want to discontinue the moratorium, correct?
I can tell you, if you don't want to vote on it tonight, don't. The Planning Commission will end the moratorium at their very next meeting, because they have the ability to do it. It was in the motion to do it. So the chair will entertain, I call the question to vote on this. Call a question. We're ready to vote, and this is going to have to be a hands up, right? We need 10 hands up, and the moratorium is ended. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Moratorium is now officially over.
But it was going to be ended anyway, regardless of how this commission voted, correct? Thank
Correct.
you.
At this time, without objection, the 18 commissioners we will go into recess for an executive session in Committee Room 1. Yes.
Stubblefield, What? What? Stubbsville? What? Remind me, kick your big ass sometime later on down the road, getting all this shit started.
I did start. But you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you can do. You're a boy. You better have your facts together about my chief deputy being an illegal vote right there, because that has been tested and tried for many years. Well, you were good up till that point with me, but when you started pointing out my chief deputy who was elected by the people like your constable, and you're saying he's committing an illegal vote in front of all these people and these microphones, and he sat on this commission for going on 2.5 years now, plus all the former deputy sheriffs that have sat on this commission and county employees on this commission. You've made a serious allegation in this room tonight. So you better provide, you don't need my county attorney, you need to provide us the facts and the state attorney general's opinion as to such. Now, you've also stated some facts here, sir, that was not truly correct about the constables. I would say you were just a little off. Not bad.
I'd say you're a little off the way you're talking.
A little off. But I was good with you until you called my deputy chief
I didn't
out.
call your deputy chief.
That's the only other separation of powers.
There's another fellow
That
sitting
is
over
a
here
police
now.
officer with the city of Manchester.
Guess what? He's a police officer.
He's not a deputy sheriff. He's not
You
a
don't
county
have to be
employee.
that deputy sheriff, be a law enforcement officer.
Well, there again, you're
Go
right,
ahead and
way
take away.
wrong. Way wrong. As usual with the Constables Association. Hey, sir.
He's upset because he's saying that I defamed his attorney.
I wish they'd have waited to start with, we could have invited them down. And, you know, the girls, they just stick in the pants, and they had to go to the bathroom, and it just got, they Sean Jones, Cantrell Carter, good to meet you. I reached out to you a few weeks ago. Well, I appreciate it. Me remembering everybody's name, you know, some people, we go back a little ways. I tell
We all go back a little ways with this young man.
I was in his first class. I was in his very. I was in his last class. Oh, there you go.
I was about to say, me and Billy Bob were in the middle there somewhere, so.
Joe, I tell people he was as excited as he was with his first girlfriend with his first ag class. I think that was how because I mean, he come in there and he had it, and I can almost still see his face. He had us braising, and he had some pieces of metal there, and I've never done it again, but I braised 2 pieces of metal together, and they about perfect, wasn't it? Yeah. And I don't know how I done it. Oh, he was, and I was the braiser then. Yeah, that put you in the skills guy. When I saw that one. And then we got there and it was wrong, and we'd been practicing with the wrong thickness metal. I didn't do it good. But it was all good. It made some good memories. That's what counts. I had some good times in ag class. So what you ever do that old trailer man?
All right, fellas. Y'all have a good night.
I've still got it. Do you? And, in fact, I loaned it to a guy, and I used it a lot over the years. Anyway, I loaned it to a guy, and he wanted to haul some dirt up it. And I told him, I said, now you gotta be careful. You can't just put, a whole lot of dirt on that thing. And he must have put a whole lot of dirt on it. And the ram on the cylinder bursted and come up through the bed and knocked a hole in the bed. And so he was going to take it to a machine shop and get a ram made just like what it was. And I said, no, I don't want to fix it like what it was. It tore up. We won't do that. I won't put a one in it. And so I've got the cylinder laying in my shop, the new cylinder. And I guess that's been 2 years ago, but I ain't got it fixed till yet. Which is aggravating because the trailer came in handy. Oh, I'm sure. But finding time to fix it is, That's that time thing.
Yeah.
But, no, I still got it. And if I can find time to get that cylinder in it, I'm gonna have to do a little modifying to get the cylinder in, so that's one reason. It's not just a matter of setting it in there.
Oh, I'm sure it's gonna take. You know, if you're like me, if you said, you know what, Saturday morning, I'm gonna work on that trailer, and you
Yeah. And then it was a moratorium, if I remember, I can't pronounce it right. Yeah, it was a moratorium, if I remember, I can't pronounce it right. Yeah. And then it was a man moratorium, if I remember, I can't pronounce it right. Yeah. And then it was a man moratorium, if I remember, I can't pronounce it right. Yeah.
Doesn't he work for the, for the gas company? I mean, for natural gas, or?
No, that was his.
No, he
his
worked
friend.
for Farm Bureau.
Yeah, he worked for Farm
Yeah.
Bureau, and his friend LaVoy Baltimore.
Lord works for
works-
them, yeah. And I had both those boys together.
Oh, mercy.
But, Frank, yeah, I dealt with him. I had a tractor or combine one, and both of them. I mean, I had a tractor burn up and I had a combine burn up, and he dealt with me on one of those.
He's just
she's the vice chair, can she
Can I just
dismiss
do-
us?
Can I do the, I wonder if they care if I go ahead and, all we gotta do here is the, report, the standing
Standing report.
committees.
He won't be back, but it may.
It'll- Should I go ask them? List of the standing committees. I was gonna give 5 minutes, and he said if not, then go ahead. But I don't even have a list of the standing committees. Do you have a list? Oh. Do you have it, Laura? Yeah, it's just, yeah, I have that, I meant the.
My wife was cheating on me. Sometimes she said, y'all boring. Okay. Clean up my mess. Now that the white sage is cake or pie or whatever this is, it's gonna be clean. I've got one. I'll take this guy in. She likes it. I like this guy.
He said I could.
Hi. Are you gonna call this meeting to order, back to order?
Well, I think the only thing we have left is our standing committees.
I'm fixing to fix that.
No.
Yes, ma'am, I am.
What are y'all fixing to do?
I'm fixing to ask to, I'm making a motion to adjourn.
Oh, I gotta do the standing committees.
No, you do not.
Oh, can we do that then?
That's my agenda.
Can we do it without the standing?
Have we got
They're ready to go?
enough people in here?
Hey. Well, it didn't take that long, because they're done. Well, he'll be back in here then. I'll get up out of his seat.
And we don't have any facts on this, so I don't wanna hear nothing.
You're talking. Hey, you can just go on. Don't tell me what to do.
You don't tell me what to do.
You're over here telling me don't be talking.
I didn't want to talk to you.
Yeah, well, then talk it over there.
Okay.
Well, we gonna make a motion to adjourn.
I'm not doing this business over there.
Huh?
You ain't adjourned yet.
No?
It didn't go good at all. Yes.
Are we back in session, or do I have to call it? Okay, we are back in session. Oh, I'm sorry. Do what? We are now to report from standing committees.
Yes.
Was that the next thing on the
That,
agenda?
that was the next thing on the list. I don't have my full list here, but I do have, a list of them. I guess we can go, budget and finance, that'll be Tim Morris. You have anything? Commissioner Morris, do you have anything?
Budget and finance is the 20th at 5 o'clock. We've started going through the budget, and so we'll meet with Marianne on the 20th.
Okay. Let's see, health and welfare,
Yeah, we're gonna be meeting May 22nd on a Thursday at 6 PM. Come out and join us, please, if you can.
okay. Capital outlay,
Capital Outlay will be meeting on June the 5th at 4 o'clock, unless we have a special called meeting, which we don't know yet if we're going to do that.
okay, and let's see, legislative,
Nothing to report.
nothing to report there. We had another one, policy and procedures.
Policy and Procedures meeting on the 22nd of, which is Thursday of next week at 5 o'clock.
Okay, and I think we have law enforcement, but I think Commissioner.
She
she's
said
gone.
that she would make an announcement for the month of June.
Okay. Thank you. I think that's all of those. Report on any special committees, I don't think we need any of those, okay.
Are you done?
I'm done, sir.
All right, does that bring us to statements and announcements?
Yes, sir.
Statements and announcements. Anybody got any statements or announcements?
I'm going to make a motion that we begin proceedings for ouster proceedings and inform the county attorney.
For a second,
Second.
the county commission is initiate, the motion is to direct the county attorney to initiate ouster proceedings against
Commissioner Joseph Hodge.
Commissioner Hodge. We have a motion with a second. Any discussion?
Can I make a comment, Mr. Mayor? I think probably the proper motion would be, I don't think this body itself can start ouster proceedings, or I think what it could do is it could refer the matter to the county attorney for investigation, and then if warranted, to
So you may
file
refer
ouster
it to
proceedings.
investigate for the purpose of ouster proceedings, right?
State
Correct.
before the Board of Commissioners. Correct. That's good. We're gonna have to have a 2/3 vote to add the item to the agenda.
I make the motion that we add it to the agenda.
Now, second.
Our motion is to amend the agenda. Those in favor would be raising their hands now. Vote. We do have a 2/3 majority to add an item to the agenda at this point. State the item that you wish to add.
The item I wish to add would be to let the county attorney begin procedures and investigate the ouster procedures for Mike Hodge.
I think that works. Is that, you good with this motion?
What we're voting on now is to add that to the agenda.
That's correct.
That's not the motion before the board, it's just add to the agenda.
That's right. We approved the amending the agenda, so now that's a motion that we're gonna add. This takes on.
I second that.
wanted to appear on the amended agenda that we turn the attorney loose to go ahead and do the investigation into the ouster proceedings of Joe Mike Hodge.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any discussion? It would not be appropriate at this time to say why, Mr. Attorney? Why he wants to make the motion?
I think that would be okay.
Do you want to read the timeline of events that precipitated your motion?
I do not want to read that.
Mr. Chairman, I think it would be kind of not appropriate to do that, to have a fair investigation in this.
Is it,
I would agree on Frank, considering the situation. We do not need to give the public any, we don't need to make them think we're leaning one way or the other. That when the investigation is complete, that all the findings come out together, and that anything that we say didn't sway that to the left or the right.
Okay. The motion is for the county, we are directing the county attorney to initiate investigation to the item that will be revealed later. I will put it that way. Is that okay? Yeah, state that loudly.
I just said to investigate the alleged misconduct.
Okay, alleged misconduct, okay. Any discussion? All those in favor, aye, with raising your hand, I'm sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 votes, that would be, favorable vote for the attorney to initiate investigation. Any other statements and announcements?
Nope. Hold on just a minute. I also need to make a motion to amend the agenda to add item of removing Mr. Hodge from all committees until this investigation is over.
Would that need to be voted on, or would that be appropriate during the investigation as you read the law?
I haven't looked to see if that was something that would be during the investigation, if that would be something, but I'll certainly take a look at that.
Makes sense to me. Guilty before proven innocent.
There's a motion to amend the agenda, is there a second? You need a second for that?
I'll second it. You could just, we could vote on it, and if it comes back where we couldn't, then he could stay on. Does that make sense?